Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our lineup of Snake Patrick's Day content. We've shown you snake collection tours and snake science, and now we thought it is about time to show you some actual snakes. So to do that, we have two Academy biologists with us here today. Please welcome Sparks Perkins and Jenoh Gonzales. Hi, you two.
Hey, guys. How are you?
How's it going?
Going great. And who do we have with us today? I'm going to make you bigger so people can see.
Well, today we went ahead and we brought out two of our snakes. This is from our ambassador program. This is what we call Smalls, lovingly. This is a California mountain king snake, or Lamprepeltis zonata. And this is just one of our snakes that we have in our collection.
And right here, I thought would be great for St. Patrick's Day, a green snake, Moriello Burritis, also called green tree python, common name.
Ooh, those are some good looking snakes, you two. I can't wait to learn more about them. Before we dive in, I'm just going to tell viewers, you can ask Sparks and Jenoh questions anytime. Just leave them in the comments section of Facebook or the chat box on YouTube. And yeah, can we get one of you to kick us off by telling us a bit more about the animal you hold?
Certainly. I'll go ahead and start us off with our king snake here. So California mountain king snakes are, as said, they're endemic to California, but they also live throughout the Northwest, and then there's different species that live in Utah and Arizona as well. So these guys are all part of one larger cladogram, but these guys in particular are really cool. They're a mimic species, and if you can see, this one has a lot of black, red, and white, and they're thought to mimic coral snakes, which are a venomous species. And that would be thought to protect them maybe from many of the predators. Birds in particular would see these guys from a far distance and would think to stay away. Fortunately for us here in California, there are no coral snakes, so their bright colors send a bit more of a different message. But these guys are a constrictor from the colubrid family, and as so they wrap around their food before they're ingesting it. These guys typically will eat small lizards, rodents, and sometimes snakes and reptile eggs for food, and live anywhere from Sonoma County all the way up through Mendocino into Humboldt, Siskiyou County, and then back out into the Sierras. And then there's another species that lives down further south into Southern California, down in Monterey and San Luis Obispo, if I can say that correctly.
I'm just going to jump in quickly. Can you tip the screen down just a little so you two are filling it up a bit more? I don't want to cut off any of that beautiful snake. Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, please continue.
All right. So, guys, right here I have, like I said, the Moriello Burritis green tree python. It's also a constrictor. So this guy is in the Pythonidae family. These guys are endemic to Australia and New Guinea, Southeast Asia, primarily around Papua New Guinea, Indonesia. So what's really cool about this species is, so these species, when these guys hatch from their eggs, they're oviparous. They're either born yellow or red. So this individual was yellow. So why they are born these different colors is when they hatch out down kind of near on the forest floor, and they kind of mimic the same colors that are found down below. So you have like a lot of yellow leaves, a lot of like brown leaves, so it helps them camouflage. And as these guys grow older, they start to develop this green color pattern in their scales. And then they move further up into the canopy where they hang from branches, and these guys literally can catch a bird in mid-flight when they're super hungry. They feed on, like I said, birds, rodents, and different types of reptiles. They even sometimes will eat their own species. These guys have something that's very, very unique. It's called a caudal lure. So if you think of like an anglerfish that has like a lure that looks like a worm, these guys use the tip of their tail that's a different color. He's kind of wrapped up now, but they'll use it as a lure for the prey to get drawing closer so they can like grab onto them. Like I said, they constrict them and then they swallow them whole. So a good interesting fact about these guys as well is they are all different. Instead of species, there's different color not necessarily mutations, they're called localities, depending on what island these guys are found from. So a lot of times within captivity, you'll hear these guys be called like a Biak, a Sarong, Jayapura. That means that's the locality that this individual is found. And with localities, you can tell different traits from them, with having like white spots, having more blue, having like a line that goes down the dorsal spine. So that's really interesting fact. The Australian green tree pythons are ones that are typically more thought of when you think of a green tree python. They are very, very, very vibrant green. This individual is a Sarong locality type, meaning he is from the Sarong area of Indonesia, and they exhibit more blue in their scales. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but this guy's pretty blue for his species. So
yeah, those white spots are really significant. I mean, not really. They're really cool. They're really beautiful. I haven't noticed them before, and the locality stuff is super interesting. And so Jessica asked, "Are they venomous?" And I know, Jenoh, you spoke to this a little bit, but would Academy biologists ever handle venomous snakes in this way?
No, never. Fortunately, we do know better than that. Since it is a king snake, it is actually a non-venomous snake. It's a venomous, what we call a venomous mimic, and it's interesting because there are no coral snakes in this area, but these king snakes, they're part of a larger cladogram, including other mountain king snakes in Arizona, and even like milk snakes throughout the southeast that actually range even all the way down to Mexico and South America. And a lot of these species would probably use this mimicry to warn off to other predators that they might be venomous and that the predator should stay away. When really it's just a form of camouflage, if you will. Well, not camouflage, it's mimicry, but it's a way of warning off your predators without causing any harm to yourself.
Right.
On the flip side, though, these guys actually are reptile eaters and would often prey upon other snakes and lizards. So their coloration isn't to ambush predator or ambush prey or to help their food anyway. It's actually to keep them from being preyed on. And a lot of times these guys live in high mountain areas, so they're going to be out on the rocks warming themselves up, and would probably be pretty easy to spot from afar if you have pretty good vision like a hawk.
Right, absolutely. Okay. And that's so interesting. And then even though these snakes aren't venomous, I mean, you do actually care for some venomous snakes at the Academy, is that right?
That's correct. Yep. Both Sparks and I both work with venomous snakes here.
And can you tell us a bit about those and what kind of precautions you take while caring for them?
So we have two. We have something called a rear fang venomous snakes, which are like our flying snake, our vine snakes, and then we have full hot snakes like the copperhead, the rattlesnake. And when we service and deal with those types of animals, those venomous snakes, we definitely have a lot of protocols set to keep us safe and to keep the animals safe. So we definitely, anytime that we service or work with them, we always have two people like on guard, hooking and handling them. We never use our bare hands to deal with a fully hot snake like the rattlesnake. You always have an extension tool.
No, we have a lot of protocols and precautions that's set in place. And as far as saying, because we work in teams of two, we are both members are trained in both CPR and any protocols we need for any emergency protocols. But also, we're both trained really well on the animals. And a lot about working with the animals is being able to read the animals, being able to watch your partner, making sure that we're both being safe. We watch out for each other. It's very much a duality.
Yeah.
Yeah. That also, thank you for teaching us that you refer to venomous snakes as full hot snakes, because I think that's some exciting information for all of us. So you told us a little bit about what these snakes eat in the wild. Can you tell us what we feed them at the Academy, and how often, and just sort of everything surrounding that?
Yeah. So we typically feed our snakes, primarily diet is rodents, ranging anywhere from very, very tiny baby mice called a pinky, all the way to an adult mouse, where some of the species of snakes that we have actually require different type of food item. Like our flying snake in particular likes to eat other reptiles. So we have different lizards to feed them, geckos, something called a knoll. Even some of our other bigger snakes like the anaconda eat rabbits. So that's pretty cool.
Most of our snakes can get the nutrition they need from a rodent prey. But yeah, there are some that definitely have a little bit more specialized diets. Sometimes we offer different rodent prey or different types of prey for diversity and as an enrichment strategy. But most of the time, these snakes are, I would say, really well fed and really well taken care of. So.
Right. So I'm going to ask a question from Rico. He asks, or they ask, do juvenile green tree pythons tend to be born red if the environment is more red, or yellow if their environment is more yellow?
No, actually from the same clutch. That's a really good question, but no, that's not necessarily the case. It's all in genetics. And a lot of times from the same clutch of eggs, you'll have two different color neonates. So you will see yellow and red, even just from one clutch. That just depends on the genetics of the animal.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. And then from Sam, age 7, how did you get those snakes?
Well, let's see. This one actually was came to us as a USDA confiscation. The animal was, I'd actually be honest, I don't know the full backstory on that one, but it was brought in from illegal pet trade, and because it is a native species, it can't initially just be re-released into the wild. These animals are they're used in both the pet trade and unfortunately a lot of people can take advantage of that. But this guy came to us as a juvenile, and we've had him here for quite some time. So we use him as our ambassador program to help teach people about our native animals.
Yeah. Oh, we also like the great tree python. He came from another sister institution. So a lot of times within zoos and aquariums, we are partnered with other institutions where we loan out trade animals, or some animals are part of the species survival program.
Yes.
And within species survival programs, you coordinate with other zoos and aquariums, and you have breeding stock of some animals that you want to keep the longevity of the genetics going. This guy in particular are not part of the species survival program currently, I think, but he did come from another institution. So.
Oh, excellent. Okay, thanks. And a reminder to view.
I think he cut out Laurel.
I know.
I don't know if she's back yet, but she told me to jump in if she has computer issues. Live stream, you know.
Right. Hi, Christina.
Hi, everyone. She was maybe gonna remind people that they can ask questions. I don't know, but it looks like she might be back. But
yeah, guys, if you have any questions, please just let us know, and Laurel or Christina will tell us questions, and hopefully we can answer them for you.
Oh, perfect. Sparks, you get a host award. Thank you for that. Okay, so that may happen again, just so that you all know. Sorry, it's super annoying. But I was going to ask, you mentioned enrichment earlier, and I wanted to ask you to tell us more about enrichment and what kind of enrichment applies to our various snakes.
So what I typically do is I do a lot of scent enrichment with my snakes. So a lot of times it's kind of gross, but you'll use like the urine, like bedding from like a rodent, and you can rub that on perching, and then that will like entice the snake to like explore a new area and get out and exercise a little bit more. A lot of times we'll do like puzzle feeders almost for some of the other king snakes or some of our ambassador snakes, where they have to like solve and figure out how to get their food. Makes their brains more active and keeps them going, and it's very enriching for them.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you can do that are pretty simple, even if you want to do things at home for some of your own snakes. Cardboard cutouts or toilet paper tubes or anything like that. If you can stuff it full of sawdust, or then you can put like a little orange peel in the center of that, you'd be surprised at how curious they actually can be about their environment. They have a lot of senses that we have: scent, visual. There's a lot of things they'll get curious about, especially if it's something that changes in their everyday world. So we'll use different things. You can even use something as simple as a hairbrush, a new foreign object, and they will come over and check it out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. We got another really good question from Sam. How often or how common are each of these species in the wild? Do you know?
Well, California mountain king snakes, fortunately, are very common. They're not often seen because they are fairly recluse. But if you've ever spent any time in the Sierras, you might come across one of these guys. They live all the way from the Sierra Mountains all the way up through Washington. I have found these guys in the wild up in Humboldt County and up along riverbeds. They're fascinating animals. It's really beautiful. The color, and I don't know how well you can see this, but the red in here is really, it's almost like in between like a hot red and an orange.
Yeah, beautiful.
This individual doesn't have the really dark striping that I've seen on some of the other species, or some of the other individuals that can be sometimes even more black than red. This individual seems to be pretty even between red and white.
No. These guys, green tree pythons, are fairly common in the wild. It just goes back to being a locality and what island you would find them. Certain island localities, the coloration of those individuals are more highly prized within the pet trade. So those stagnant populations on the islands are more threatened than the overall species as a whole. But again, if you're looking for these in the wild, they're going to be very, very hard to find because they're going to be up at the canopies. They're green for a reason. They blend in, camouflage, but they are common, and they are pretty common in captivity too.
Oh, great. Thank you. So Adrian so this is a great thing to talk about too. What other species of snakes do we have at the Academy?
Yeah, quite a list.
Rattle them off.
From canebrake rattlesnake, copperhead, flying snake, anaconda.
Well, we definitely have a different species, mixed species of native species, native to the United States and native elsewhere, so exotics. The anaconda is probably one of the largest ones we have that everybody can identify with. She's a 15-foot long anaconda. She's beautiful. We call her Queen Bey. We have several other python species other than just the green tree python. We also have Australian pythons, Australian centurion pythons, and Australian Woma python. But we also have a lot of snakes that you would see more commonly here in the United States, including the rat snakes. We have Everglades and the yellow rat snake. We have the Kingsnakes. We use corn snakes in our ambassador program, and Pacific gopher snakes, which are another species that's common in this area. Actually, probably even more common than the mountain king snake.
Did we mention the vine snakes? Those are my favorite. The rainforest.
The list is long. I could spend time going over all of them.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of species.
Yeah. So Riga would like. So you mentioned SSP programs earlier, Species Survival Plan programs. Can you tell us a little bit more about? Do you know of any that apply to snakes, or do we participate in any that apply to snakes?
I'm trying to think. I don't think that we participate in any of those species survival programs for snakes. I honestly, off the top of my head, don't really know a lot of there. I know that one species is called a Mengshan pit viper. That's part of a species survival program. We don't currently house that species, but to go into further detail about that. So with the species survival programs, different zoos and aquariums, like I said, are partnered together to help breed and keep the genetic diversity of the captive held populations of these individuals. So like the Mengshan pit viper, it's found in kind of the high alpine forest of China. Very, very, very endangered animal. So a lot of certain zoos and aquariums are partnered in breeding programs. So they breed these snakes, and then they transfer them to other institutions that have different genetic bloodlines than theirs to help increase the current captive populations of these snakes, to help raise awareness about how threatened these guys are in the wild.
Great, thank you so much. And I know people probably know us best for our African penguin colony. That's a species survival plan colony, but I know we have a whole host of others as well, but not snakes. Good to know. Okay. From Angela, I've heard that snakes are very intelligent animals. Do you know anything about that, how they communicate?
Snakes actually communicate a lot of times through their body language. You can often see it, a lot of times, like a real obvious one would be mating rituals. It's common for multiple species of snakes, for the males, they're not going to strike at each other and damage each other, hurt each other, but they try and show off their prowess by showing how large they are, or how how well they can balance, how tall they can get, and they'll try and topple the other male over. And that's all body language. Those are visual cues and body cues. They can feel that. A lot of snakes can also make noises. Obviously, a rattlesnake can use its rattle. That's a very common one that we know. But that's something that other snakes can feel too, and that can translate through the air or even better through the ground. Snakes don't have open ears like we do, but they do have an inner ear. That sound wave can travel right through their jawline. So they'll pick up a lot of different sounds that way. But it depends on the species. Like this king snake here is a very visual diurnal snake, even though they'll come out usually in the evening or early morning. It's when his eyes dilate, they're round eyes. He's looking around for his prey as well as using his tongue to smell things. The python, on the other hand, has a bit more added features that you might want to talk about.
Yeah, so it's got these pits on the side of its face that it uses for like heat sensing. Let's see if I can get a closer look. You'll see there's like these grooves on the side of its upper and lower jaw. And those are like heat sensing vents. So they'll use that one if they're around another snake or if they're looking for their prey. These guys typically, like I said, when they'll communicate, a lot of times they're communicating to get other prey. They're going to use that caudal lure at the end of their tail that's differently colored to lure in that prey. But again, you'll see he's kind of going into an S position right now up here. A lot of times that means that these guys are getting ready to strike. Green tree pythons are typically known, you see that's why I have one sticking out my hand. They're known to be very, very feisty individuals. So he's kind of letting me know right now that he is feisty, and I do not want to go anywhere near him with my hands.
Well, aside from communicating with each other, snakes, they're constantly communicating with their environment. And with those little pits, I mean, he knows where I'm at, whether he can see me really well or not. He can sense my heat. And that is what they'll use to strike out at the prey. If they have a passing bird or a passing bat, they're going to sit still and just reach and just use that all of a sudden that inertia to reach out and grab something. And they can tell, they can feel it coming, or more sense it coming with those labial pits. And that's just another way that they're going to communicate with their environment.
Yeah, and amazing. We have another question related to snake senses, and I'll just ask you a couple more because I know you've been holding up that feisty snake for a while. But Kelly was curious, do snakes see the same way we do?
Ooh,
that's a really good question.
That's a good question, and not one I really feel like I can answer, to be honest. There are several animals in the world that we know that do have color vision. And generally it's associated with birds, reptiles, fish, and mammals that generally eat fruit. So,
yeah, honestly, I couldn't answer that question, but it would literally depend on the species, and that's something I'm not very well versed in. So I apologize.
You don't have to be. It seems fair that you're not versed in all the species. We do have panels of snake experts coming up, so there's more people to ask that question. And I think infrared is also something we see a lot. Yeah. What's that?
I'd say it'll be a good question for them. So.
Yep, exactly. Well, let's see here. I will ask you in closing, I just want to know, do you each have a favorite snake at the Academy and why?
This one right here, I personally have green tree pythons at home, so they do hold really close to my heart. So yeah, this guy right here is probably my favorite.
Excellent.
So likewise, I have Kingsnakes at home, and Kingsnakes have always been very dear to my heart. But here at the Academy, I have to say that Queen Bey, our Anaconda is just very close to my heart. She's a wonderful animal, very well tempered compared to other species or other individuals I've worked with. So I gotta say, she's got my.
She has your heart, like she's squeezing it and squeezing it. Yeah. I love that you both have snakes at home, and I think that we do actually have a Instagram story of an Anaconda checkup that we can highlight on our Instagram today if people would like to see how you all do that work, because that's no small feat to give an Anaconda checkup. Okay, wonderful. I, again, cannot thank you both enough for coming on and helping us meet these animals today. Thank you so very much. And if viewers, if you're in the Bay Area, go to the Academy. We are reopened. You can see some snakes in person. And no matter where you are, come back later today. Our next 3 p.m. PT 3 p.m. Pacific is our next panel, and that is going to be about snake reproduction, garter snake guts, and how to make a sexy snake. So thank you, Sparks and Jenoh. We'll see you again.
Bye, guys. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Bye.